Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're viewing, watching. Those of you on my podcast listening, hey, how are you? I'm so delighted that you're here today. We're going to have a great time, great conversation. Please, you know what to do. Say hello. Let me know where you're calling in, watching in, viewing in from. It's my old radio days calling in. That's long past, I know, but wherever it is that you're listening or viewing or watching or doing that, let me know where you're coming from, and please, what the weather is like where you are. And good morning, my favorite. Hey, how you doing? Favorite person to say hello to in the morning, Dr. Pierre from Dallas, Texas. I know it must be hot down there, ain't it? And hey, Anana from Maryland, how are you? Baltimore, Maryland. How close are you to Baltimore? Because, I spent lots of time, went to school there. My mom and her family are there. I got relatives. I love B-More. What's happening? How you doing? So good to see and hear you. All is well. I'm so glad. I'm delighted. Listen, what about that eclipse? Did y'all see it? Wasn't it amazing? I just love it. And I knew the eclipse was coming, but it kind of caught me off guard because I hadn't got my glasses, because you're supposed to have the right glasses now. And so I ran to my favorite place, Amazon, but everything was going on Saturday, but everything was going to be delivered on Monday. And I didn't know it could come Monday at 8:00 at night, and I'd miss it, because in Detroit, it started around 1-ish, but around 3:10, 3:15 is really when it came in. So, but then I tried Walmart, and Walmart delivered the next day. Isn't that something that we have so many choices these days? But did you see it? It was wonderful. And so for those of you on live, if you saw the eclipse, let me know. For those of you on the replay, we're talking about the eclipse in 2024. For those of you who may be watching, and the next one is coming, what is that, 20-some years? If you're watching now, because I believe you will be, we'll still be rocking and rolling. Hope you'll enjoy that one. And so it's in Annapolis, Maryland. All right. Yes, indeed. That's the capital, right? Now, see, I'm showing my, I used to know all of the capitals of all the cities, but, sometimes that doesn't matter as you get older, etc. But so it's so good that you're here, and welcome to all. And from Denver, my girl, how you doing, Bernadette? How things going? I saw about your twin sister's new book. Oh my goodness, that is wonderful. Don't tell me. I think the name Beyond the Badge or something like that. Just congratulations to her and to you. all of that good stuff, family stuff. It's so great to see everyone. Let me know where you're from. Thank you. And let me know how the weather is doing there. And we want to say hello to everyone. But I have to, before we get into today's conversation, I just have to say, them women basketball team. Ooh, we South Carolina NCAA. I'm telling you, the latest reports are saying that there were more people. I think I got this right. You all will be able to tell me. You correct me if I'm wrong. But I think there were more people watching the women's championship basketball game than the men's. And I think it was the first time in history, y'all. Now, see, that's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Oh, so Bernadette is sharing her true story of being a Detroit police officer. Thank you so much, Bernadette. Please drop in the chat the name of that book. And again, congratulations to you and your sister on that. And hey, Conchita from Jonesburg, LA. Oh my goodness. It's a Wednesday, yes, and it's rainy in Louisiana. And how are you, LinkedIn user? Good to see you. And Carla, it's always great to see you. Good morning from Detroit. And we got the sun out. In fact, I had to close my blinds because there was so much sun coming in. It's a beautiful thing. Now, trust, I ain't complaining. We ain't complaining with that sun, are we? So good, just great to see all of you. And oh yes, hello. And thank you, Bernadette. I'm gonna put that up on the screen for a moment. So for those of you watching live, or for those of you on the replay, you can check out the book by Bernadette's sister. Bernadette is a member of our community, has been a supporter since the beginning almost. Thank you so much, Bernadette, coming in from Denver, for sharing that with us. Thank you too. Oh, thank you. It's a beautiful day. That's because the sun is out. All right. So thank you all so much. And if I have to get up and adjust my blinds, please understand. We take a sip of water before we get started. Please understand, it's just because the sun is so bright here in Detroit, and we ain't complaining. And oh my goodness, Kay Venice is joining us from LA, the other LA. We had an LA, Louisiana. This is the LA, Los Angeles, California. Oh, thank you for your time this morning. Right back at you. I appreciate you joining, and happy Wednesday to you. Well, listen, for those of you who are just joining us, you know what I want to do? I do want to turn down, I'm working with this, y'all, working with it now. I want to turn off the music, though it is playing softly. One of the things they say is that, you should keep the music, you should keep the music kind of flowing. But anyway, I wanted to turn that down, and want to say, for those of you who are just joining us, we're going to get started. And I want to tell you, the Old Boys Club is out, and the power of the female network is in. Welcome to Mastering the Art of Networking, Proven Strategies for Midlife Women Leaders. Now, you may be saying, well, Dr. Geneva, why are we saying, we know you do stuff on women in leadership roles in nonprofits, philanthropy, businesses, but why are we focusing on midlife women leaders? Well, the effective networking techniques that we're going to talk about today are for all women leaders. But I especially want to talk about and want to focus on those of you who are seasoned women leaders who are in your 40s, your 50s, and 60s, because you have unique opportunities and challenges. I know many of you are probably figuring out how to make job changes or those transitions. You're still trying to crack and break through that glass ceilings, maybe starting off your own business. You're still juggling your personal and professional duties and the things you have to do. You may be thinking about leaving the business world to become an entrepreneur, or maybe you're thinking about, ooh, I'd love to get on a corporate board or a nonprofit board. But when you're in that middle part of life, you got a whole lot of experience, wisdom, skills that you bring to the table as a wise and, seasoned female boss. And, you've spent years leading projects and directing teams and working with people and learning how to get past problems and solve them. And this gives you a lot of useful knowledge and insights. And so when it comes to being in midlife and networking, um, you perhaps want some different kind of things. You're looking for some different type of advice or strategies. For instance, you might like more quality than quantity in terms of contacts and networking. Perhaps you want to network in smaller, more personal settings, or prefer to build deeper, long-term relationships instead of making a lot of quick contacts that perhaps you used to do when you was younger. But here's the point. By using the tried and true strategies that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to be better equipped as a female leader, as a woman in leadership roles, nonprofits, businesses, um, philanthropy, foundations, the corporate world. Um, you're going to be better equipped to make the most of your experiences and build a strong network to help you reach your career and charitable goals, especially if you're in that wonderful middle part of life. Now, I want to tell you before we dive into these networking strategies, I do want to share just a powerful insight. I'm going to talk more about it later, but from the Harvard study of adult development, which, by the way, is the longest study ever on human happiness and well-being. And this study followed hundreds of people uh, over the course of years, 80 years. I mean, that's a long time. What the study said a lot of good stuff. If you have a chance to, look at it, or I'll give you some more information in a moment. But one of the biggest things, in fact, the single most important thing that came out of the study was the fact that the most significant predictor of long-term happiness, health, and life satisfaction is the quality of our relationships. Mm. And so this study found that close, supportive connections with others are essential for maintaining our mental and physical well-being throughout our lives. And so this finding for us underscores the importance of building and nurturing meaningful relationships for professional success, but also for personal happiness and fulfillment. So you see why I want to talk about this subject, and I want to set the stage for you. I want to make sure we're in the right mind frame for this conversation. And that's why I wanted to, just kind of throw out there this study. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And I want you to keep all of this in mind as we explore the networking strategies I'm going to share with you today. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Dr. Geneva, top leadership voice here on LinkedIn, and I'm on a mission to empower women in leadership roles to lead with greater success and impact. Now, over the years, I've dedicated myself to mastering the art of building meaningful relationships and honing my networking skills. And really, that has resulted in me being able to connect with donors all over the country, raising millions of dollars, leading effectively community initiatives that I've been asked to by mayors and governors. And so I really want to let you know that this networking thing, I've been in it for a while. And that's why I'm here. I want to really lay this out to you. And through my work, I've identified the what I consider to be the fundamental principles that form the foundation of really any successful networking strategy. And so today I want to share with you the core, CORE, networking model. And this is a framework I developed that really encompasses the essential elements and really can serve as a roadmap for you building, cultivating powerful connections, and really as a foundation. These are pillars that you can build your networking strategy on. Now, let me tell you, I got a whole arsenal of various strategies, tips, things, techniques, things that work, things that didn't, that I've developed and amassed over the years. But what I'm giving you today are the four essentials that you can use to build a robust and effective networking strategy, especially if you're in that midlife, that time of seasoned, well seasoned, experienced woman leader as you face the unique opportunities. And so by focusing on these fundamentals that I want to talk about. Again, you can use them to expand your networking repertoire, incorporating your own tips and techniques and things and the flavors so that you develop your own thing. Because, I know you come to this conversation with experience and you've been doing this. I know that. This is about elevating, going to the next level, using these foundational core elements to perhaps as you're switching from one career to another, perhaps as you're saying, I got to figure out what my next steps are. And I know I want to do some new things, but I don't have the contacts or connections, or I need to develop them. Wherever you are, the strategies that I'm going to share with you today in the core, CORE, networking model will help you elevate and go to that next step. And so I want to let me just check. Oh, yes, I see more of us are coming in. Hello to everyone. And so I want to dive deep into these strategies. But as we go through them, I want to encourage you to think about your own situation and how you can apply them to your own networking efforts and really take your relationship building skills to the next level. Elevate. That's what we're going to do. Elevate, elevate, elevate. Okay. And so, yes, that's what we are, Conchita. Wise, seasoned female bosses. Yes, we are. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's so good to have you all here today. Okay, so let's get in it. You know, on this first strategy that I want to share with you, I need to set the stage. And then particularly for those of you who might say, well, Dr. Geneva, how long you been in this networking thing? Not just as a doing it, but as studying it, practicing it, testing it. Well, let me tell you, early in my career, when I started out in the first organization I became a part of, um, we operated through a management by objectives system. And this basically was anything we did, any program we started, whatever we did, we had to have a work plan for the year. And the work plan had very specific objectives, MBO, management by objective system. And two aspects of our work plan had to be for everyone in the organization. And I'm talking about United Way. When I started out, many of you know I started my career there in United Way at the very bottom position and worked my way up to the first female leader, CEO, and president of the organization. But when I started out early in my career, United Way was a force, is a force in the community. And, it was all about bringing people together and, all of that. And there were two aspects of everyone's annual work plan, and they were representation of agency. It was called agency representation, and memberships and liaisons. And for each of these two areas, we had to, whatever projects we were working on, whatever we were doing in terms of the work we were carrying out in the community and with donors and with agencies, we had to identify specific objectives, specific steps, specific actions we would take in those two areas. The areas of how we would go out in the community and represent the United Way. So we had to specifically define that, the organizations we would connect with, the businesses, the whole deal, and memberships and liaisons, which was the other, which was a process of saying, well, in order to accomplish whatever project we were working on, we needed to have a membership in a certain organization or a liaison relationship with someone in the public sector, the private sector, foundations, whatever it was, to make sure that we could advance the agenda forward. And so these two areas, so I want to share that because I want you to know that starting out as a youngster, okay, in my career, I had to and learned how to network and establish relationships by a management by objective system that was not only related directly to my work, but also to my pay. You understand this, right? Because, when you accomplish your objectives, then you can move forward. You understand this. So this is why this first um, strategy, the C in core, is so critical. And this is clarity. It's all about the goals you set in connecting. So you might say, well, Dr. Geneva, that means that I really have to think about who I'm going to connect with, who I'm going to liaison with, who I'm going to meet with, who I want to get with, what kinds of relationships I want to establish in what industries, how. Yes, 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 all of that. And so the C in the core networking model is about getting clear on who it is you need to connect with, why, and making sure that those connections matter and that they're relevant. So you want to be clear about where you want to be, let's say, and so you think about, well, where do I want to be in a year or 3 or 5, or what new industry am I going in, or what career change am I doing, or how do I need to boost my current skills or connections? You want to really think about it, and not only for now, but where you want to be in a year or 2 or 3. And then seek out and identify the people and the places who can help you get there. So this clarity, again, it's all about setting those goals, setting those objectives, this goal-oriented connecting. And the clarity that you're going to establish is going to help you attract the right connections. And also, let me tell you what else it's going to do. It's going to help you really think about who you are and what it is you're trying to do and your brand. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But then also, I want you to make sure that in this seeking your clarity that you do your research, you identify leaders that you really want to connect with. And also, this targeted approach, I know it helped me when I started out doing it, helped me overcome that networking anxiety and helped me build confidence because I had a game plan. And I really did. And it wasn't like I was fumbling around. I really had a game plan. And also, before you reach out to any contact, you want to research their interest and background so that you can create these meaningful conversation topics and identify potential areas of collaboration. And this kind of participation, this kind of preparation is really going to help you engage in authentic, meaningful communication and active listening. So the C in core is about being clear on your goals and your objectives. In other words, you put together this game plan that has a goal and you're very intentional. So I want to ask you, what's the networking goal that you want to achieve in the next, let's say 6 months? Can you share that goal in the chat? I want you to think about it as you think about networking. You're just not going out there and just, let me go to this event and, make sure, of course, make sure what you wear and you're looking good. Now you want to do that. Now you want to do that. But it's not just willy-nilly that you're going out there. You have a purpose, you have an intent, and you're very strategic. You are goal oriented so that you're clear. You have clarity on what it is that you're doing and who it is that you're seeing. Okay. Yes. So, all right. So that's the C in core. Okay. Then this is the O in core, and that's about outreach. Now, this outreach isn't I'm not telling you to just go out there and the first thing I want you to do is my old favorite, which is outreach to those you know. Leverage your existing connections. Okay. And when I started in my career, this strategy was oftentimes as simple as me asking my husband, who knew everyone in Detroit. I was new to Detroit, didn't know nobody. So I started out not knowing nobody, but I was working for one of the major organizations in the state and had to raise money, had to create all these community initiatives, had to work with all these people and didn't know nobody. Okay. So this whole concept of networking in place, in other words, outreaching to people that I already knew or could help me, like my husband who knew everyone, or making those introductions, etc., became very, very, very key. And I want you to think about outreaching and those connections that you have. I call them warm introductions, warmness, and making warm calls because they're people that you know. And why is this important? Because these folk know, like, and trust you. They really do. And I remember when I started one of the organizations after I left United Way um, I was there for 20 some years and merged another United Way and led that organization. And then the foundations and the mayor wanted to start this new national um, organization, never been done before. And it was a national model around collaboration and raising dollars on the belief that if we could bring people together who had a common interest um, in certain community problems, that we could in fact create the kind of energy and synergy where people would collaborate, and that would increase our attractiveness for new money. And so this was, brand new thing, very experimental. And so I left United Way, and that was the next organization that I founded. And nobody knew or really understood in the community what it was we was trying to do. In the beginning, no one knew. And I remember reaching out, outreaching to a woman who ran one of the major PR firms, who was known all over the country. We had developed a great working relationship. And I went out to her, and I'm sitting there, I'm having lunch, I'm trying to explain this new national project. She was looking at me, her eyes was kind of glazed. Okay, because this was brand new. Nobody knew what we were talking about. It was very innovative. And she stopped me and she said, "Listen, Geneva," said, "I'm not too sure about what it is you're talking about, but I know you. And so if you're going to do this, I'm with you. How can I help?" That connection happened because she was an existing relationship. I leveraged the experience, and she knew, liked, and trusted me. You have people who feel the same way, and you have relationships with them. And so it's important to leverage that trust and credibility. And I also want to say, as we think about this particular strategy, that you also should use your current connections to stay in touch and to leverage online, your digital presence. And this can create, on LinkedIn, for example, it's all about connections, people that you develop those relationships with. So establishing a strong online presence and using digital networking tools to stay connected and visible in your industry can matter. And this allows you, when you're dealing with people with whom you have a connection, it matters. It makes a difference. So I'd like to know what you all think about that, but also, what's your favorite way to stay connected with people that you already know? People who are in your existing network. So often women leaders will come to me and they'll say, "Yes, need to get to know this person. I want to get to know this new. I never met them, but I really need to." And all that's good. And that needs to be in your portfolio. But the point of the point of the O in core, is that right here, right now, connected with you. Don't forget family and friends. Don't forget your connections on LinkedIn. You have people who know, like, and trust you, and leveraging them matters. Okay? So that's the point I want to get across. So I'd like to know, how do you stay in touch with those people who are people that you know and that you know well? Um, Let me know in the chat, please. Oh, Antoinette, how are you? Shout out to you, to you. So glad that you're with us. And Carla, oh, okay. So Carla needs to speak with procurement officers and CEOs. Yes. And these strategies that we're talking about, I want you to use and think about. So you identified, Carla, you have a need to talk to a certain group, uh, procurement officers and CEOs. Identify a handful of them. Be real specific with your goals as to why and what it is that you hope to accomplish making that connection. Do research after you've identified a half a dozen or so. Do research on there, find out what particular interest individuals might have, but also, Carla, I know you know a lot of people. There are probably people within your network who know procurement officers and CEOs, and use also your connections on LinkedIn as well. First book, yes, yes, yeah. Ooh, 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 love it, love it. And thank you all for sharing your tips and again your goals. Dr. Pierre talks about she wants to connect with proven leaders in organizational and leadership excellence. Terrific. Looking for projects and partnerships with business masterminds. Okay, that is fantastic. But you see what I mean about how important it is to lay out what in fact your goals are and what it is that you want to do and how that's that C, that's that clarity, then outreach. All right, so I want to see how many of you and what methods you use to reach out to people that you know. Let's keep moving. And let me just say, if you're getting value from the conversation, these strategies, and you want some help in elevating your network or developing your own networking plan or whatever in networking or elevating your leadership roles, book an appointment with me. You can go to LinkedIn, and right underneath my picture profile right there it says book an appointment. All you got to do is click on that, and I love to have a conversation with you. All right, so what's the R for? Reciprocity. All right, now this is a big one, y'all. So this one, you might say, reciprocity, what we talking about here? Now, now y'all know what reciprocity is, right? It's the practice of exchanging things for mutual benefit. Okay, got it. So you're going to tell me, I know you're saying, well, Dr. Geneva, we get it that when we're networking, it's got to be a mutual because it's a relationship. It doesn't need to be transactional. It should be a meaningful relationship. Yes, you got it. I love it. I'm glad you got that concept. But here's what I want to talk about. In that relationship, I want to talk about your role. Your role is to lead with generosity. So, in other words, you're going to offer help first. Okay. So, if you understand that concept of mutually beneficial relationships, that's great. But I want to talk about your role in that relationship. And so, so how do you do that, Dr. Geneva? Well, let me share one thing. One I remember so well again early in my career, I was given this project of being the lead on establishing a multi-service center, which the concept was that a collection of public and private human service, health related organizations would come in and occupy this building, in fact, that we renovated. It was a 40,000 square foot building right in the heart of the community, 2 floors. And the idea, again, never been done. The community had never seen anything like this. And I had to raise the money. I had to get the organizations. I had to figure out the menu of services. And I had to work with community so that they would be a part of it. We just weren't coming in plopping something down because that wouldn't work, right? That's not what you do in community work. And so this concept of establishing these relationships. So I learned, I didn't start out with it, but I learned that it wasn't just about me going to them, going to the community, going to donors, going to organizations and saying, we need you to, or I want you to, give money, locate in the center, support this project, etc. It really was about going to these various disparate groups and individuals with generosity, what I had to offer, what we could bring to the community, what, um, based upon the interest, what we could in fact provide, an opportunity to cohabitate with other like-minded organizations, a beautiful facility with really reduced or no rent, um, et cetera, et cetera. Had to go to donors and really not give us money to do this, but figure out what were their interests and what did they want to see and how they in fact could create a presence in the community and so forth and so on. Do you see the point? The point that I'm trying to make is that your role in networking, in this mutually beneficial relationship, is to lead with what you can give, what you can bring to the table. So how do you do that? So you identify what you got to bring to the table, your unique value or your insights or your products or your services that you can offer. And this will help you um, create that uniqueness, that offering, and think about what resources that you have that you can share. I was working with a woman who owns several beauty shops and great businesswoman, and she really has some of the most unique ways to apply makeup. And so one of the things we worked on, I can't see you all, let me take that off for a minute. I'll get back to it just in case you're taking notes. That's why I'm keeping the screen up so you can take notes. But one of the things we developed in her plan was that she would have always at the ready in conversations that she could offer or share the 10 best tips to look fabulous at any time, any place. And in conversation, as the conversation, oh, what do you do? And da da da. Well, I do this. Oh, that's fabulous. Da 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 da. And then you bring it up and you bring it up as an offer and you say, yes, by the way, I've developed this da 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 da. And can I send it to you? I'll send it to you. And in other words, you're leading with what you have, your generosity, what you have to offer. But in order to do that, you got to sit and you got to think about it. Okay. So that's what I want you to take away from this, that you want to sit and you want to think and you want to think about the resources that you can share. Perhaps it's access to your network. One of the biggies that I use is connecting people. So every time I'm in a room, and there more than one person that I know, what there always is, I'm going to introduce this person to this person and connect them. And so as I've done that through the years, people know that I can connect, that I'm about connecting. And that's what I can bring to the table. You've got plenty of stuff that you can bring to the table. You need to think about those resources. It might be free consultations. It might be the ebooks that you've written or things that are specific to your industry. And so these resources really show your commitment to nurturing relationships. And then remember to communicate what you've got. This again is why a strong digital presence is so important. Communicate your offers through platforms, websites, social media, newsletters, and get the feedback. And again, use your authentic voice. So, what's the one resource or skill or piece of advice that you have that you can offer to your network? Okay, because I want you to go to all of these networking events that you go to. You got your plan because you're clear. You've, touched base with and leveraged existing relationships. And then you're going to go to these events and approach this with a reciprocity. With my role is to lead with my offer, my generosity. So, what resource or piece of advice or something can you think about that you're going to do? Please leave that in the chat. Now, let me get to E. Okay. And I need to tell you about E, which is enduring. And it's all about this legacy and network. And I've got to, I got to tell you that although I've been developing and have developed this, this thing about legacy and impact as I go through, networking and relationships, etc. When the results of this study, Dr. Waldinger, Robert Waldinger, who was the director of the study I mentioned to you. If you're just joining us, I've talked about the Harvard study, which is an 80-year study following people to determine their happiness, what made them happy, what made them satisfied with life. And this is the longest study ever conducted. And Dr. Robert was one of the directors, and just in fact also released a book last year called The Good Life. Yes, indeed. Lessons from the world's longest scientific study of happiness. And because of what the study found, its most significant finding was that the single most important determinant of happiness and healthy well being is the quality of our relationships, meaningful relationships, the impact our relationships have, and what we do for others. And so this E really speaks to that. So as you're doing your networking, I want you to think about this impact, this aspect of networking that not only talks about building and nurturing relationships that support your personal and professional growth, but also contributes to the success and well-being of others. And so this whole idea of leaving a legacy, impacting others really is, I believe, the glue, the why, the meaningfulness. This is where this strategy comes into play. And as leaders who are in our midlife, 40s, 50s, 60s, we must recognize that the relationships we build through our careers can shape our personal and professional legacy. So, this strategy that I'm talking about emphasizes the importance of nurturing these genuine, long lasting connections, not only to support our personal and professional aspirations, but also allow us to make a positive impact on others. And that's where E and enduring comes from. And so I want you to think about mentoring and how you can mentor others and offer your guidance and your wisdom and your support as you navigate through your career, and look for those opportunities. And again, prioritize the meaningful connections, because as we know, not only does that matter in terms of your career, but it matters in terms of your health and well-being. And I want you to always think about how you can give back to others, to your network. Look for ways to contribute to the success and well-being of others in your network. And also, those cross-generational relationships are important. Younger folks, older folks, again, all of that helps elevate your professional, your personal landscape, but also the legacy you need. When I really had a chance to dive deep into this book, The Good Life, and hear Dr. Waldinger's conversation about it, it really solidified this enduring relationships and the whole aspect of legacy and the importance of having an impact on others. And I think it really wraps this whole concept of networking and establishing meaningful relationship. So anyway, that's why I wanted to bring it to you. And I'd love to know what quality, when you're thinking about professional relationships and the personal relationships, what kind of qualities matter to you? Share that in the chat. Is it trust, honesty, integrity, shared vision? What is it in terms of how you see your legacy building and the whole networking concept? So again, I want you to take the core and in the things we've talked about, want to recap. Okay, again, the comments are just flowing in. I'm going to get to all of them, but let me recap. Okay, that I wanted to set the framework of our conversation in the context of the beneficial nature of mutually beneficial relationships, genuine, authentic, and how it's not just a great, nice thing to do. It's a fantastic, effective strategy for professional growth. Networking is building those relationships, but now we know the value that it has in terms of our own happiness, well-being, and long life, that having these genuine relationships matter. So, midlife women leaders, my circle back to my point, that establishing these networks and connections we need to go beyond the Rolodex. And y'all know, if you in your midlife, y'all know what Rolodex is. Go beyond the Rolodex, that it really is about those meaningful relationships, because the relationships you establish at work, the relationships in your business, as you're working in your nonprofits, as you're, in the workplace, as you're being with your family and your friends, all of these relationships matter. And they are going to add and enhance and elevate your happiness, which is another great thing when we talk about being a leader who has the energy, is happy, finds joy in the work, and is about the business of creating impact and making a difference in the lives of her team, in the workplace, her employees, her family, all of that. So that's what I wanted to leave you with. And, I do want to, Dr. Robert Waldinger has this one quote that I want to leave you with that says, the clearest message we get from this 75-year study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. Isn't that heavy? So that's why I hope this is a different perspective on networking that you've gotten. And I'm just so delighted you joined. Oh my goodness, the comments have just flowing. Oh my goodness, there's so many of you are giving. I'm trying to see them all. Good luck on your book, Venice. Hey, listen, I published my first book when I was in my late 60s. It's a beautiful thing. I keep telling people, hey, do that book, because we got so much in us. We need to do the book. We heard about Dr. Pearson looking at the goals. And how are you feeling today? Yes, that's another one. How can I help you? How are you feeling today? Yes. um, Supporting their goals. That's right. See, you all know it. You all know this. And now you also know how all this that you're doing, it's leading even more to your health and happiness. Okay. So Bernadette, I asked, how do you stay in touch with those existing relations, leveraging your zit? She sends texts, coffee, emails. Yes. Okay. Those are the kinds of things. Yes, reciprocity is important. I want you to remember, core, clarity, outreach to existing relationships, reciprocity, and that E with enduring. Bernadette, thank you so much. We have had lots of conversations. Thank you. And for those of you who want to uh, take part also in what Bernadette experienced, she said, a conversation with me is empowering. Thank you so much, Bernadette. If you want to get some of that energy, empowerment, and help with networking, relationship building, or any leadership issue or opportunity, book a call with me. Go to LinkedIn, go to my profile. It says book an appointment. Yes, so thank you. Yes, reciprocity. Venice, your platform of choice is LinkedIn. Love it, love it, love it. And so continue to do that. We have so many. Oh, thank you for sharing your goals. Okay, Carla, you lost it. Yes, our backup. Yes, and replay. And I want to say, please come if you didn't. I hope you took notes. That's why I wanted to leave the slides up. But it's a replay, not only here, but on Facebook, because I'm streaming to Facebook. Hello there, Extraordinary Women Influencers. That's my Facebook group. If you're not a member, please join Extraordinary Women Influencers. You could go to Facebook, put in Extraordinary Women Influencers or Geneva Williams. You'll get to my Facebook group, streaming there live also, as well as on YouTube. Oh, Gregory, so glad you're here. Thank you. Love that heart. Reciprocity. Yes, yes, yes. Connections. All of these comments, all of these comments that are coming in. Empower. Yes, yes. Oh, Elaine, I'm so glad you joined. Yes. Integrity is an important one. Thank you. Oh, and Vernice says she loves to networking. That is so great. Now you laughing at me talking about Rolodex. Patent pending. Okay. All right. So Carla is interested in her products. Love to get your take on how to best introduce it to the world. You'll go international. Hey, girl, want to hear that? Booking the best way to do that. Book an appointment with me, and we can talk about that. Okay. Um, Sharing the wealth, achieving the goals. Thank you, Bernadette, for dropping these pearls of wisdom. Oh, we have so many comments. I love you all being here. We are all inspirational, I believe, Venice, at this stage of our lives, because we know so much. We've been there, and we are resilient. And the more resilient you are, the more you can be inspirational. And when you're talking about them things you got over, glad you like the core networking model. I really would love for you to think about it, to use it, etc. Conchita has her Rolodex. See, I knew there'd be some folk on here that knew what I meant when I said Rolodex. oh, let's have an in-person event. Yes, okay. All right. And so Venice remembers that. Listen, we have come to our time. Loved having you here. Want to see you here next Wednesday. Um, I was trying to. I do have my shows lined up for the rest of the May and April. I know one of the shows we're going to be talking about um, uh, being an introverted women leader. I'm very excited about that. I run across so many leaders who say, well, I'm really an introvert, so we're going to talk about that and really give you some great strategies. I'm also got a show lined up on artificial intelligence, particularly for those of you who are in nonprofits. And so I want you to tune in and keep your eyes out for that. I am a big believer in you got to get on this AI bandwagon. And I know there's all kinds of issues, etc., but I'm talking about how you can use it to elevate. And there are some very specific strategies that you can use artificial intelligence um, to elevate. And so I want you to, think about that as well. So those are some of the shows coming up. We're going to have a good time. And okay, book an appointment, please. See you all. See you next week, Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Love you. Bye.